Levels of value. This is in Genesis chapter 1 and 2. Life will pay you in direct proportion to the level of value you create. Now, here's where most people mess up. Most people mistakenly think that life will pay you according to the amount of value that you create. But if you create a large amount of value at a lower level, you're just going to be more broke and more tired. But you can produce less volume of value at a higher level and make way more money. Okay, what's the lowest level of value? The lowest level of value is implementation. By the way, the reason this is true is because wealth is spiritual in its essence. It is not materialistic in its essence. You've been taught your whole life. This is one of those erroneous things that we bought into. This is one of those lies that we believe that we protect because of where we got it from. We believe that thinking about wealth is too materialistic. But working hard for a little bit of money is way more materialistic than starting a business that serves more people. It's way more materialistic. I'll prove it to you in a minute. So, implementation level, this is the lowest level of value. The amount of money you're going to make when you're down here on this implementation level is going to be somewhere between minimum wage and maybe $80,000 a year. You're going to make minimum wage if you're making tacos at Taco Bell. You're going to be making $80,000 a year if you're working on a Rolls Royce or Mercedes or a Bentley or some high-level car and you're a mechanic. These are the resources you're using. You're using your muscles. Let me ask you a question about muscles. Are they a spiritual resource or physical? They're a physical resource. And you're using your muscles over time. Is time an unlimited resource or a limited resource? So we're using a physical resource times a limited resource, and we're seeking to produce an unlimited result. It's not possible. It's like attempting to turn water into oil or oil into water. They're different components. And so if you are at the implementation level, you are pretty much, it doesn't matter how hard you work down here. It's interesting. I just stayed at the Nobu Hotel in Atlanta last week, and we had 3 rooms. I don't remember how much it was. I was going to say how much it was a night, but I don't remember. Let's just say it was $370 a night. Okay? The hardest working people in that hotel are the housekeeping staff. The people who make the least amount of money in the hotel is the housekeeping staff. And I know you feel badly for them. So do I. That's why I give them tips, right? But you feel badly for them. And it's that's not fair. It doesn't matter if it's fair. Life ain't fair. But it's there. And the reason they make a little bit of money is because they're using their muscles over time. And it doesn't matter what you use your muscles over time to do. You are limiting the amount of money you can make. So you elevate. And you move up to the next level, which is unification. And in this level, you're going to make somewhere between $40,000 a year and $250,000 a year. $40,000 if you're managing Taco Bell, $80,000 if you're a middle manager at Lockheed Martin or Boeing or one of those companies. And on this level, the resource you're using your management skills to make money. But you're actually performing a higher spiritual activity than doing the thing yourself. You're actually managing a bunch of people to produce the result. Well, managing people requires a higher level of spiritual acumen and social acumen and just patience and acumen in general than doing the thing yourself. How many of y'all tracking? Say I'm tracking. Okay. So wealth does not start to be created like wealth. I'm not talking 20,000 a month, 30,000 a month. I'm talking about like big money. Big-ish. 50,000, 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 a month. $500,000 a month, $1 million a month, $3 million a month. That money starts to be made above the line. On the low end, really bottom low end, you're going to make $100,000 a year. High end, literally could make hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Hundreds of millions? Yes, hundreds of millions. On the low end, you might sell cars. On the high end, you might be an A-list actor, an A-list singer. Somewhere in the middle, you might be an author, or a salesperson, or a blogger, or a podcaster, somewhere in the middle. And this level is called communication. And on this level, the resource we use our mouth to make money. Now here's what's amazing. It doesn't seem fair. You're going to make between 100,000 a year and 100 million a year using your mouth. Now, there's a caveat. You have to have a mouth. Here's the hard part. You must learn how to use it. And the only thing most people use their mouth for is to proclaim words that throw rocks on the path of their progress. So, this is where the fortunes start to be made. Wait a minute, Myron, are you telling me that a person who writes a book one time and sells a bunch of those books every month is going to make more than somebody who's out in Florida in the middle of the summer putting on a roof when it's 97 degrees outside in Tampa? Yes, a lot more. This is so crazy. I wrote this book in 2006. This book makes me between $5,000 and $12,000 a month every month. I haven't read it since 2007 probably. But I don't get paid when I read it. I get paid when I sell it. I wrote this book in 2021. 3 years ago this book came out. 3 years ago I wrote this book. Watch it. This book makes between $25,000 and $70,000 a month. I'm not writing the book. But I communicated a message on paper, and people keep saying, send it to me, send it to me, send it. If you send it to me, I'll send you some money. I said, okay, let me send it to you. Communication. What's the highest level? The highest level of value is imagination. On this level, we use our mind and our money as resources to make money. If you will decide today, do what today? Decide. Everybody do what? Decide. If you will decide today that you're going to start today, spending more time working above the dotted line than you do down below. I'm not saying stop working below the dotted line, because if you do, they come in to turn your lights off. I'm not saying stop working below the dotted line. I'm just saying, make it a conscious decision to start working above the dotted line so that you can start doing stuff in your mind and with your mouth that can make you millions of dollars. Now, in order for us to do that, we have to understand the functions of the mind. The mind has a lot of functions. We don't really think about the mind. I mean, it's like saying we don't really talk about the mouth. We don't really look at the eyes. Okay, but we don't really think about the mind. Think about it. I wonder what are the functions of my mind? How many of you, honestly, before I ask that question, have never had that thought? What are the functions of my mind, right? You don't think about, okay, well, I'm gonna cover some of the functions of the mind that I believe are absolutely essential for us to understand, for us to use our mind to make millions of dollars. And I'm not saying this because I need you. I have helped other people make millions of dollars in a day. I've helped so many clients have $1 million days and literally generate $1 million in revenue in an hour. And I know it sounds crazy, it sounds ridiculous, and you don't have to believe me. Either I'm the biggest idiot liar in the world, or I'm telling a truth that's just so fantastical, you got to find out about it. So one of those, right? Okay. And I don't think I'm an idiot or a liar, so I'll let you do your own evaluations of that. Okay. What are the faculties of the mind? Okay. Number one, imagination. What does imagination mean? It means I have the ability to see clearly in my mind an outcome, a function, a picture, a movie, before it's actually in front of my eyes. Imagination in the mind is what vision would be in the eyes. But here's the beauty with the eyes, you can't see it until it's there. In the mind, you can see it decades before it's there. Did y'all feel that? Imagination. Everything that we see, this building that we're in, somebody conjured it up in their imagination, shared it with an architect, or maybe they were the architect, and they drew it out on paper. And then they handed the paper to somebody else, and the people took the paper, and then they went and used their contracting skills and their contracting connections to build the building. Every song that's ever been written started in somebody's mind. They could hear the notes in their head. Oh yeah, they started writing the score, or they just picked up their instrument and they started playing it. It all starts in the imagination. And what's cool is, so let me clarify something, because some of you are thinking, where's that in Genesis 1 and 2? Okay. God created three categories in creation. God created three categories in creation. He created creation, the sun, the moon, the stars, the grass, the trees, etc. Okay? God created creation. When God created creation, he said, let there be. So he created light, let there be light. Let the waters above the firmament be separated from the waters below. Light, let there be water, right? God created creatures. When God created creatures, he said, let the earth bring forth. Let the earth bring forth. The earth brought forth the land animals. The sea brought forth the fish and the fowl. Okay? So that's how God delegated the creation of creatures to the creation that he had created. Y'all tracking? But when God got ready to make the crown of his creation, he didn't say, let there be man, because man is more than creation. He didn't say, let the earth bring forth man, or let the water bring forth man, because man is more than a creature. These people who say man is a higher form of animal, they're confused about the nature of animals and the nature of men. The Hebrew word for animal or beast is ba-he-ma. Ba, in. He, behold. Ma, what? Here's what an animal is. In it is what it is. What does that mean? A horse is a horse is a horse, of course. Okay, some of y'all who are a little older get that. Okay? What it means is a horse can only do what a horse could do the first day a horse got here. A dog can only do what a dog could do the first day a dog got here. A cat can only do what a cat could do the first day a cat got here. A bird can only do what a bird could do the first day a bird got here. Human beings were created to be progressively productive. We didn't have cell phones in the Garden of Eden. We didn't have televisions and computers and internets and planes and trains and automobiles. Why? Because God created humans as creatives or creators. So he created us to create stuff, and he made us to make stuff. When God made man, here's what he said. He said, let us make man in our image. Well, in order for God to say, let us make man in our image, guess what had to exist first? The image had to exist before he could say that, or there would be no image to make God man in the image of. So it starts with the image. That's the highest. Imagination. Then God said, that's communication. That's the words that came out of his mouth. He didn't say, let me make man in my image. He said, let us make man in our image. That's the unification. And the last thing that it says in Genesis chapter 2, verse number 7, and the Lord God formed or squeezed man of the dust of the ground. That's the implementation. The last thing God made or formed was the man's body. And when God formed the body, he breathed the man, the imagination, the communication, and the unification into the body that he formed. And the man became a living soul. Are y'all tracking? That's where I got the 4 levels of value. But so just so you think, so you know I'm not reading something into this, this is something we see over and over in Scripture. Watch this. Do you remember Genesis chapter 11? Like, not only is this the 4 levels of value, this is the 4 levels of achievement. What does that mean? It starts with imagination, just like this building, just like a computer, just like a song. Imagination, then communication, then unification, then implementation. You have to have all 4. You have a business, you need imagination, communication, unification, implementation. You have to have all 4. Well, watch this. Do you understand that process even works when you're doing something evil? Because Genesis chapter 11, after the flood, Nimrod, who wants to be the king of the world, says, we're going to build a city and a tower whose top can reach heaven. When I was a little kid, I'd read that and thought to myself, that sounds like the dumbest idea ever. They got no hydraulics. They have no helicopters. They have no cranes. You're going to build a tower whose top can reach heaven, so if God sends another flood, we can escape it. Well, why would he think that would work? I don't know, maybe because he's made in the image of God. Now, I read that and I think it's dumb. Here's what it says. The Lord came down to see the city and the tower which the sons of men builded. And here's what the Lord said. This people is one. Unification. They all have one language, communication. Now this they begin to do, implementation. Now nothing will be restrained from them which they've what? Imagined to do. Y'all checking? And so what happens is, God said, when you put these 4 things together, even if you're using them for something bad, they still work.